Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever wondered why some companies, the ones with absolutely amazing products, just vanish? Well, a lot of the time, it has almost nothing to do with what's going on inside the company. Today, we're going to explore the powerful and often invisible forces outside a business that can make or break its success.
So let's just kick things off with a question I bet we've all asked ourselves at some point. You see a brilliant product, a fantastic service, and you think, wow, this is going to be huge. And then boom, a year later it's just gone. Why does that happen?
Well, the answer, and it's almost always the case, is pretty simple. No business is an island. Success isn't just about what you make or what you do inside your own walls. It's really all about how well you can handle the crazy, always changing world outside those doors.
And you know what? That whole world out there actually has a name. We call it the marketing environment. It's the official term for this entire universe of factors and forces that a company has to navigate just to survive, let alone thrive.
The textbook definition here really breaks it down nicely. It talks about the actors and forces that affect a company. I kind of like to think of it like this. The actors are all the other players on the field with you, and the forces, well, those are the rules of the game. Rules that, by the way, are always changing.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this, let's zoom in a bit. We're going to start with the first layer, what we call the inner circle, or the microenvironment. Just think of this as your company's immediate neighborhood.
Yeah, these are the folks right on your doorstep. Now, you can't totally control them, of course, but you can talk to them, you can build relationships, negotiate, you have some direct influence. They're like the other shops and residents on your street.
And smack dab in the middle of this whole universe, your customers. I mean, it all comes back to them, right? Any business that's truly successful is obsessed with what their customers need and want, because without that, every decision you make is pretty much just a shot in the dark.
And of course, you're not the only one trying to win over those customers. Your competitors are right there with you, fighting for the same attention. This is where strategy is everything. It's not enough to just be good. You have to offer something that's really uniquely valuable to get their business. And hey, we can't forget about your suppliers, the businesses that give you the raw materials and services you need to even operate. I mean, one late delivery, a sudden price hike, or a drop in quality from them can have a direct impact on your customer's experience. It can build you up, or as the source material says, it can really damage that customer goodwill.
All right, so that's the microenvironment in a nutshell. Think of it as your immediate neighborhood, right? The stuff you can kind of influence. But every neighborhood is part of a much bigger world. So now let's zoom out and look at the macro environment, the bigger picture that affects everyone.
Okay, time to zoom all the way out. If the microenvironment is your local neighborhood, the macroenvironment is kind of like the global climate. You can't change the weather, right? But you'd better have an umbrella if it's going to rain.
And this really gets to the heart of it. These are these huge societal forces that you just can't control, and they affect everybody. For one company, a shift in this climate might be a devastating storm, but for another, it's the perfect wind to set sail. I mean, just look at technology. The speed it moves at is just incredible. It can create whole new industries overnight and make others totally obsolete. Just think about how smartphones changed everything, from cameras to GPS. And really, the choice is pretty simple. You either keep up and adapt, or you risk getting left in the dust. Then you've got the whole economic picture. The source material points to things like changes in income and how people are spending their money. Think about it. When people have less cash to spend, or when interest rates climb, that completely changes how much they can buy and what they choose to buy. And this one is huge, the socio-cultural environment. This is all about the shifting values, beliefs, and behaviors of society. So when people start caring more about wellness or environmental sustainability, that's not just a fad. No way. That's a deep-seated cultural shift. And for the businesses that are actually paying attention, that creates enormous new opportunities.
Okay, so we've mapped out the neighborhood and we've checked the global weather forecast. That brings us to the big, multi-million-dollar question. What do you actually do about all this?
Right, because just knowing this stuff exists, that's not going to cut it. The real magic is in the response. Does a company just let itself get pushed around by its environment, or does it try to do some of the pushing itself? So, the sources we looked at boil it down to two main approaches. The first one is passive. You see a change coming, you adapt. But the second one is proactive. You don't just adapt to the environment, you actually try to shape it.
you know? You might launch a game-changing product that creates a whole new trend, or maybe use some smart PR to steer the public conversation.
And that really is the crucial takeaway here. While sure, a little bit of adaptation is always going to be necessary, the most successful companies don't just sit back and react. They anticipate, they innovate, they take action to influence the forces around them instead of just letting themselves get tossed around by the currents.
So I guess I'll just leave you with this final thought. The next time you look at any business, big or small, ask yourself, is it just a leaf being blown around by the wind, or is it the hand on the ship's wheel, charting its own course? The answer to that question tells you pretty much everything you need to know. Thanks so much for diving into this with me.